An ancient eldritch entity has dubbed you its emotional support human. Zar-Kagor gazed into the great deathless beyond, watched worlds live, grow, die, and be reborn, the endless toil of the universe dancing into the astral strings of fate. Zar-Kagor watched thousands of life tragedies, comedies, play out in the past, present, and future. It was too much for one being. It was too much to stare eternity in the eye. A hand came to Zar-Kagor's head. Then it was a warm, soft caress. The motion repeated for a few minutes, and Zar-Kagor let out a long sigh and relaxed. Looking up at the creature to so casually lay their hands on one such as him, he was met by a kindly stare of an old woman. She sat on her porch and rocked gently in a chair. She didn't understand the complexity of what Zar struggled with. She didn't need to. "Who's a good kitty?" asked the old woman, her voice music to Zar's ears. "Me," Zar responded, but all the old woman heard was, It started with a building pressure along her skull, followed by a strange garbled mess of consonants with increasing volume, until it sounded as if someone was speaking inside her head, and Sarah winced despite herself. She sat up on her heels, feeling her way along the strange textured wall, her eyes unfocused. Despite being blind from birth, she was nothing but brave, if foolhardy at times. She had a regular visitor, and it seemed like today was visiting day. She wasn't entirely sure when it started, these strange visits, but they always happened the same way. She felt her surroundings fade, the noises outside her windows fading. The next step wasn't there, and she fell into nothing but a small gasp. A second later, she was lifted into the air by her visitor. Up or down made no sense here, but it held her gently, and after so many visits, she wasn't afraid it would hurt her. It gurgled again, that same long string of consonants, and she tilted her head to where she thought the sound most likely originated from. "Hey yourself, I was wondering when you'd come next, you know?" She was awarded with a small noise, and a gentle appendage started petting her. Cold and boneless, but incredibly gentle. The visitor cooed, a strange sound from a being beyond human understanding, yet somehow impossible not to understand, and Sarah grinned. "What? It's not like I don't know that you will come back. And don't you try to be all cute, that's my thing." The being made a high-pitching sound. Laughter. But Sarah wasn't convinced. Its real laughter was rare, and filled her head with nameless, chaotic colors. This laughter was painfully empty of it. "Come on, you can tell me if something is bothering you. It's not like I would tell anyone," she said in an encouraging voice, gathering the closest appendages in a soft hug. As one, the tentacles shuddered, and then moved, some petting her hair, some massaging her hands, and the being started talking. Not that she understood it. It still sounded garbled and strange, but she was starting to recognize a few sentences. Her name. Was it her name? It was said in a soft rumbling, almost a purr, really, and always in her direction, repeating a few times each visit. At some point, the being fed her strange spherical things that smelled like fresh air and dissolved in her mouth like spun sugar. She commented on the strange taste, praising it with a bit too much enthusiasm. But it worked. For the next coo was warmer, and the next laughter was almost real. She did not remember sleeping, but when she awoke next, she was tucked into her bed, the noises outside as normal as always. She blinked away the remains of a dream and went to start her day. Behind her, already fading into nothing, was a small sphere that glittered like a small constellation and smelled of fresh air. I was laying on the couch playing video games, my usual Saturday evening. I gave up going out years ago. I have a few good friends in my game clan and chat with them regularly. We support each other and talk about life in general while killing aliens. I play under the moniker Chaos Fire 1313, and I'm usually running with my buddy Gat6996. Gat is wicked cool, but weird AF, even for me. But he's always on and always willing to run raids. So we do. I hear my doorbell ring. Wasn't even sure it worked in the first place. As I walked to my door, I felt the air get colder. I mean, significantly colder. It's early summer and already 85 degrees out, but my hallway feels like winter. Before I reached the door, it opened, and there in the doorway stood a standing shadow. I don't know how else to describe it, but when the light hit it, I saw a man. Jeans, hoodie, and the face of Gat. I knew his face from the Discord chat, except this was wrong. I never gave Gat my address. WTF, dude, what are you doing here? How'd you find me? Do you want me to answer one or all of those questions? And do you truly want the answers? I was utterly confused by that response. I mean, why wouldn't I want him to answer all the questions and answer them truly? Gat, or whatever your real name is, you need to answer the questions. Honestly. Gat is my real name. Well, it's a shortened version of my name. I am Gatanathoa, the son of Cthulhu. And you are my emotional support human. Jesus fucking Christ. None of what he said made sense. I said, honestly, that was the most jumbled bull I ever heard. Pulling his hood down. I'm not lying. Look at my face. I mean, really look at it. Tell me what you see. He was really trying to sell this, and still not answering my questions. I wasn't letting him in my house until he did. Maybe not at all if he did. I mean, he tracked me down out of nowhere. But I looked at his face. I heard almost desperation in his voice, so I looked. And that's when I noticed he had 4 eyes. And not in the he's wearing glasses 4 eyes banner. I mean, he truly has 4 eyes. His teeth are sharper than any canines I've ever seen or heard of. Okay, WTF. You've like 4 eyes. Your smile makes a shark's mouth look like a smile of a baby. Yeah, well, Dad's genetics are a little funky at times. You should see my brother. He looks like a bearded frog octopus creature. I at least look humanish, which means I can pass most of the time. But I've not really had anyone to talk to until you. So now you're my emotional support human. Or if you prefer, you can call me your sugar goddess. That laugh shivered my spine, but I think I got the gist of what he wanted. Someone to talk to, and I got supported for being there. Being broke and hating my job, it sounded interesting. I moved out of the way and told Gatanathoa to come in. And that's how I met my husband. John knocked on his bedroom door. Odie pawed at the doorknob from the other side, his claws clicking and clacking against it. Then he stopped and started barking instead. John sighed and opened the door. Inside, Odie barked at him once, and John knelt down. Odie growled as he approached. John pulled back and stood up again, staring down hurt at his dog. Odie sniffed at John's feet, then his waist. His dog ignored the grenade in John's back pocket, and once finished sniffing, barked at the orange cat playing with a ball of yarn on top of John's perfectly made bed. "I don't care if he has a grenade," Gorefield's baritone rumbled through John's mind. "Let him through." Odie padded off to his cage at the foot of the bed and curled himself inside, head and forepaws hanging out of the open door. John approached the bed and stood silently waiting. Gorefield continued playing with its yarn, seemingly unaware of John's presence. Then, Gorefield flicked away the yarn and rolled his chunky body over and sat up to face John, the way cats sit like humans on couches sometimes, folded over and legs spread open. John nodded and pulled the wooden chair from his small writing desk and set it down to face Gorefield before sitting down himself. "Tomorrow," Gorefield's voice purred in John's mind, "you're going to take me to work with you. You're going to take me everywhere with you. When people ask you about me, you tell them I'm an emotional support animal. Support for what? I don't care. Make something up, but you're taking me with you." "Let's discuss my payment." Gorefield sighed. "That time is past, John. You rejected me once. No dark gift for you. I want you to make me charming. How about you take me with you and you get to live?" "My life's pretty worthless." "Oh, you think you can out-nihilism me? A flick of my tail and my whispers travel to a certain high-rise. Pay a visit to a certain veterinarian. What do you think happens then, John? What do you think happens to her mind when she hears my little whispers? Consider your position carefully, John. I get my charm, or neither of us walk out of here." John pulled his grenade and looped a finger through the pin. Odie barked wildly behind him. Gorefield raised a paw and Odie's thunderous barks cut off with a simpering whine. "Are you willing to die for this?" Gorefield asked. "Maybe I need that charm more than you do." Gorefield flopped onto its side. Laughter, like shaking a bucket full of rocks, rumbled through John's mind. "I told you, Odie," Gorefield said. "Born with a death wish. How an utter fool like you has managed to live this long is truly a wonder. You'll get your charm. I'm going to need a vest." Gorefield blinked its eyes slowly. John blinked back slowly too. They had an accord. Dr. Liz tapped her pen against her clipboard. John usually couldn't get more than a yes or no out of her since he'd first brought Gorefield to her office a few weeks ago. Now he was back, changed, ready. "So, you want me to sign off on Gorefield's support animal paperwork so he can legally wear a vest because you've got PTSD from getting fired. Is that right?" Gorefield started hissing at nothing, and John gently stroked its back, soothing the eldritch entity. "That's right," John said. "I've got a long path ahead of me." "Yeah, whatever," Gorefield purred.